Hello, everyone. Welcome to another presentation of our broadcast here in the Issues Room. Volcano Shelton with you here this evening, and this is our 176th edition. The Issues Room is your alternative media platform in social media world coming out of Liberia to discuss the things that matter to Liberia, the African continent, and the diaspora. We're here on Tuesdays and Fridays. Unfortunately, last Friday we couldn't broadcast, but again, we apologize to our many viewers and those of you who are committed, our fans, and we say we're back, hopefully to stay for a while. We'd like to encourage you to spread the word, share the link. Tonight's conversation going to be a very, very important one because it has to do with agriculture. And you and I know for over time we've discussed the issues surrounding the different sectors of our country and what could be more significant than agriculture. And we had someone who has endeavored and has ventured into farming and all of that. And you want to hear about his experiences and challenges as he sees it firsthand what he's been going through over the years that he's embarked on this journey. What is his, experience with regards to the sector, with regards to government, with regards to just the local farmers and the locale he finds himself doing farming. What is he doing actually in terms of farming? Is it rice? Is it cassava? Is it cocoa? Whatever it is, cash crops. We'll talk about all of that tonight. We'd like to encourage you, Adiaha Umo, please share the link with those of the folks in Australia. Thank you so much for joining. It's good to see you tonight, ma'am. Always a pleasant opportunity to find you out there in Australia with the time difference to join your boys here in America. And we say thank you so much for being there with us. Again, we'd like to encourage you. The Issues Room is a more enlightenment platform. We come here to discuss politics in Liberia. We talk about the health sector. We talk about education. We talk about the economy. We talk about our lost youth, and I call them the lost youth, people who you would consider to be in the term Zogos, you know, um, that is being localized. Those are the lost generation right now. And if we don't do anything as a people, and I'm not just saying government, but as a people, our country, our country will have no future. Because imagine some of us who were young and they didn't indulge in the livelihood these guys are finding themselves completely hooked on drugs. And, if we were in that generation, we wouldn't have the George we are becoming president and being president. But thank God some of us were able to surmount those uh, vices that kind of came toward us, but we're able to, move out of the way to sustain ourselves and keep ourselves afloat to become good, noble citizens, not just for Liberia, but even the practices and the way we live here in the diaspora. That speaks volume. Unfortunately, our generation want to return home to take the helm of leadership and to keep our country thriving and to create an opportunity for these young people to have mentors and coaches and leaders that they can emulate. Unfortunately, that's not the case. What you have, the current configuration in Liberia, are people who just want for themselves and to a greater extent don't give a crap about what these guys are going through. But oh yes, come October 10, they're looking toward them. They're looking at them. They are trying to lure them into giving them the loan votes. And I use the word loan votes because there is nothing in return. There's no reciprocal, that's the word, reciprocal benefit for them. If after they put these guys in power, then it's back to business as usual. So what do we do as a society to open opportunities for these young people? Many of us were given this opportunity because of the leadership at the time. The leadership at the time, not that it was top notch, but it was not inept. It didn't turn the back on the rule of law. They didn't turn the back on, the the semblance of hope and development in the country. There were jobs. Parents were able to send the kids to school, and kids were in a position to respect their parents. Many of the kids our time were not breadwinner for our parents and our families. In today's generation, the kids now are the breadwinner. So who really going to listen to the parents? So leadership before this generation did extremely well. Did extremely well. And we're not saying there was no corruption. We're not saying that it was not at a place that it was visible, it was seen. But the fact here is that there were some opportunities. And unfortunately, we're not finding that today. People brag about having the best economy. The current leadership brags about free education. The current leadership brags about paying white school fees, $20, $25. That's a drop in the bucket. The campaign message is, I build hospitals. Where are the hospitals? The campaign message is, I build roads. Where are the roads? Roads with no sidewalks, road with no street lights, roads with no median, no roads with no lines to show demarcation, single line, dotted line, double lines. Do we even know what those lines mean? So why are we talking about the things that the country should have had years ago and up to this point? So when you do those things, then don't brag about it, because we say government is continuity. So if the government survives on the premise that government is continuity, then when you take off from where the next government or the previous government left off, they just continue rather than brag, rather than try to equate who did what. I think it should just be, listen, we applaud the previous government from where they brought the country, and we are going to move the country here, and we're going to move the country further. But you come to the country, or you take the government in the country, and then you start to make comparison, and you blame all your ineptability, you blame all your failures on the previous government. So why didn't you take leadership? Because when you take leadership in any situation, whether in work, anywhere in the world, any condition, you take leadership, you don't take leadership to capitalize on the previous or the past, making it an excuse. You take leadership to build upon the past. And even in the past, where there were weakness, you must strengthen the future. That's what you must do. You must strengthen the future. But you cannot openly corrupt the society, keep the people in indigent condition, backwardness, lack of rule of law. I've never seen Liberia so chaotic compared to this generation, this time, this government. And yet you continue to look to the past. And is this the premise you are debating to be re-elected? So that's the problem. So honestly, I have been thinking about it. Why are the opposition, and we have our guest in studio, he'll be coming on shortly, but this is the way we wake up our audience and want you to be engaged. Why are the opposition fighting each other when all the message should be toward the incumbent? That tells us that 20 people in a race, 19 people against one political party. Now, to be honest with you, I'm not a Joseph Boyka partisan. I'm not a member of any political party. Not any of the members here in the issues room are supporter or that I know of political members in any political party, but it is our country, and we will talk what it means. Why everybody talking about the old man and his age? That's the only thing you can capitalize on, the old man and his age? Bring all the records you have on the old man and corruption. Bring those records out. But we can bring record on the other people, many of the other people, regarding corruption, right? Many of the other people. We can bring issues out on the incumbent with the lack of ineptability, right? We can bring issues out on the incumbent with regards to corruption, right? So it is not about age, it's about wisdom. It's about the willpower to demonstrate leadership and to change the trajectory of the country. So rather than spend time bad mouthing Joseph Boyka, bad mouthing Cummings against Boyka, Boyka's against Cummings, because those are the two big people. Then you're talking poor Mr. Gonglo who came in with his own a little better name, right? And you're bouncing all over the place, yelling at each other. And you got George Weah campaigning in the rain, soaking wet. That tells you he didn't do a good job. If George Weah can walk in the rain now, it tells you his back is against the wall. Those are clear indicators. And when I heard Moluba Molu talking just the other day here, I don't know whether that yesterday or the day, but I just stumbled on him talking about empirical evidence show that it's a one-time win, and they believe in the electorate is going to be something not right. Then it tells me it's 19 against 1. And when people become emphatic about winning a first-term elections in this divided climate of 20 candidates, that scares me. So it means that all of the other candidates were created to splinterize the vote in favor of the incumbent. And that's the way you can win a one term. But if everyone goes on the level playing field and really go for it, then honestly, it's not going to be a one term. So I don't know where they're coming from with that hope for change, change for hope, whatever it is. But I don't see it happening. So when you begin to make that constant declaration so that you can rig the elections, because insiders are continuing to talk. While it is true you may have people in your camp pretending to be that because they're benefiting, but they're still giving information out there. And the information funneling is that you guys are doing everything behind the scene to take this election one term. But remember, Liberia's elections, when the American hand is in it and they claim that it's free and fair, then nothing can stop it, right? But when American hand is not in it and you declare free and fair and American hand not in it, then it's a serious problem. It happened in 1985. It didn't happen with Charles Taylor because ECOWAS hand was there and they said, all right, 75%, let it man carry, let it have peace with fatigue. Ellen Johnson come, how she wanted, I don't know. But she could see the backing from the Americans. The hand was inside. The other one here that just happened. They said let the people, Liberian people see what in the Pankana. So let them boss it themselves. When they see what in the Pankana, and the Pankana means for you, our international people, palm kernel, right pronunciation in Liberian term Pankana, right? Then they will make up their minds. So this other election that everyone says is the crossroad, is the do or die. No one can tamper with this election. No one, not even incumbent, can play any trick around this election because everyone hands inside. Everyone, including this great United States. And if this great United States does not put a hand on that election and say they accept the result, you can imagine what will happen. So just stop playing with this country, because at the end of the day, you took 6 years and you made a pure mess. If somebody has to clean it up for all of us, that you may enjoy, like Ellie enjoy, because if you're forced anything, thinking that you're bigger than the country and you can do anything, then I don't know what else will happen. But we all can pray that these elections will be free, fair, and inarguably transparent. So that's the thought I had, and I wanted to share this with you guys. Take this election very seriously, incumbent. Take this election very seriously, opposition. And let's do the right thing by the Liberian people. Our country is the laughing stock on the continent. We are way behind more than 50 years. And if we're not collectively involved to push our country forward, and we continue to act divided and behave divided, then I can see our country all run by foreigners, and it's happening. Liberia is now a place where foreigners are doing well than the citizens because of bad governance, because of no pride, no nationalism. We do not put our people first. We're putting foreigners first. They come, we give them all the opportunities. And what they do, they take all the gains and they go carry to the country to develop their society even better than you and I can imagine for our country. Most of the development now that is going on in Liberia is coming from the diaspora. Liberians who work so hard to save their little money and go there to do something. And we should applaud every Liberian who is doing something in Liberia from the diaspora. Because I don't see what the foreigners are doing in our country. All they're doing, making a mess. I call it making a mess and getting rich. Thank you so much for coming through, Dorothy Cyrus. Good to see you here. Edith V. McIntosh, Frederick Moyu, Manu Sumo. Thank you. Please open up the line, share the word, invite people to come here tonight. We're here tonight to discuss agriculture. Our guest is here tonight, Mr. David Swa. Good evening. Welcome, David. It's a pleasure having you in the house. For the first time here in the Issues Room, we thought to bring you in because you are a citizen of Liberia who will tell us a little bit about yourself briefly before we go into the conversation. But before that, let me bring in Moses Sandy. I see he's backstage now. Welcome, Moses. Good evening. Welcome to the Issues Room.
Thank you. Thank you,
Okay.
Volcano.
Thank you, Mr. Shelton, for bringing me in. It's a pleasure to be in. Thank you very much.
Well, we wanted to hold this conversation because we think that agriculture is one of the more, permanent sectors in the country. Had we really focused on it, we wouldn't be beggars. We wouldn't be putting $11 million in the pockets of rice importers, and we don't see the rice. There's no adjustment in the price and all of that. But before we hold the conversation, let's talk about David Swa a little bit. Who is David Swa and how you got involved in this aspiration to do agriculture or farming, put it that way.
Thank you. Well, my name is David Ed Sua. I hail from Sino County, Juazon District. I was here in the States. I went to university called Wilmington University. Upon graduation, I worked for the HSBC Bank and I also worked for Citibank before returning home to Liberia to work for LBDA as a vice president for the account department. I also worked for as a CFO for Pan African Holding Company as a controller for the Ministry of Agriculture. And there where I resigned to go to Sino and get engaged into agriculture through an NGO called Citizens Against Poverty. Because when I left from here and I went back to the village, I saw poverty like I never seen it anywhere before. Even when I was born sometime in the 50s, the condition there then is better than what it is now in the villages and towns. And so therefore, I resigned my position and I started an NGO, Citizens Against Poverty. And we went into short-term food crops, rice and cassava and vegetables.
Okay. I thought you were still continuing. Um, so that's a little bit about Mr. Swa. He was in the banking sector and then decided to go in agriculture. Moses,
Yeah, Mr. Swab.
You got to have your posture closer to the mic because
Hmm.
we barely
Okay.
can hear. Go
Okay.
ahead.
Do you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Okay. Mr. Swab, welcome to the Issues Room. It's a pleasure to have you. It's been a while since we had the opportunity of meeting in person. But to kick this show off on a personal note, Volcano, this is how I would like to start. I come here this evening with mixed feeling. On a positive note, um, I'm sorry, guys. So as I was saying, I come here this evening with mixed feelings. Um, on a positive note, this weekend, I will be celebrating My daughter who just graduated from college, School of Arts, and then just few hours to this podcast, Volcano. Uh, that's how God works, you know. I got a phone call. I lost my only brother
Mm.
today. And
Wow.
so I
Mm.
come in a real somber mood. I would not have made this podcast. It's difficult for me, you know, but this is a commitment that we made. So I just want
But
people to know.
if you're
Mhm.
not in
Yeah,
a
I
very
mean we're okay. I'm okay. I just want you guys to be aware of what I'm dealing with. I'm emotionally disturbed,
a
and
bre-
at the same time, I'm
did your brother
planning to
did your
celebrate
brother,
my daughter.
did your
Mhm.
brother pass away in Liberia?
No, he died in Israel. Hmm.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah,
And
mhm,
your only brother, you said.
yeah, mhm,
Okay. On behalf
yeah.
of the issues, when we extend our profound sympathy, and it takes a great deal of courage to mount here tonight. I don't know how you're gonna do. Uh, what type of country is this? But we'll
Yeah.
see if we can cheer you up. You look at the positive side, but again, we say sorry
Mhm.
to you for the loss of your brother.
Yeah.
If you think you can stomach it to stay here, that's fine. But if you can't, I will
Mm-hmm.
hope that um, the audience will understand. I can hang up myself and probably David. Uh, but if you want to hang on, then you can hang.
No,
So
let the
we
show
can.
continue.
All right, all right.
There's
So
My
acceptance.
condolence to you,
Sure,
Moses, and
sure, hmm,
be strong, bro.
sure. Yeah.
okay,
Okay. So, Swat, help us understand. I know before the podcast we had a behind the scene discussion. Uh, Talk to us about your project first. Uh, in terms of workforce, how many persons you have working for you, how big is this project, and the impact the project is making in San County.
Thank you, Moses.
Thank you.
When we think or talk agriculture, we talk about a lifeline of a community of people, of individuals.
Hmm.
When I decided to go into agriculture, I studied a couple of factors. Look around the community and see how many young people, even including those who have graduated from our universities and colleges with degrees, they are unemployed, cannot find job. In the term of the government ministry themselves, in the last few weeks, it pronounced that there are 350,000 Zogos. When we were growing up, we didn't have a group of people called Zogos, but indeed, there are a group now classified as Zogos. And these boys don't have work to do, they don't even have a place to stay, and they are causing some problems. Looking at the major unemployment issue and the huge amount of money that is spent out of our economy to import rice and other food stuff, the only other sector that we can engage into as Liberians to turn the table, to improve the economy, to improve individual lives is agriculture. It will take years to send a man to college, those Zogos to college to learn and specialize in special disciplines to become effective into the community. We can take those same Zogos and within the space of few weeks and a month, at least they're able to take a college, they're able to take a tool to have an impact on making a farm. Therefore, when I studied the various sectors, I thought the agricultural sector is the best route that we can use to bring the country back on track. Sometime back in the 60s or the 70s, we were producing a lot of our own food. But today, information that I gather, Liberia is importing about $300 million worth of food stuff on an annual basis. So why can't we as Liberians not get involved into agriculture? A nation that imports food exports jobs. So we need to get involved into this. So that's why motivated me to go into the sector. And I formed an NGO called Citizens Against Poverty. And this NGO did quite pretty well. We got some good assistance from the government at the time. Um, we did just short-term food crops, rice and cassava and vegetables. We did 225 acres of rice and cassava farm in a little village called Shady Town in Juazon district. We had about 73 permanent employees. We had about 3,000 visitors who came to the farm based on requests, and they will work for some time, 2, 3 days, and they will return to their villages. And if they have a need also to have a massive job done, they invite us, and we take our staff and we go to them and we do the same thing. So therefore, we had a major production process. We had a lot of food. We employ people. And not only did we provide food for the people, like I said, agriculture is one tool that we can use to build our communities. When we went to Shedistown, we had just 3 purple houses. In 2 years' time, we built 15 new houses with zinc roof, dead blocks. Of people making $100 a month were able to design programs that will enable them through our cooperative effort to build such, to make such a monumental improvement within the community. And so I think agriculture is the way to go. Because of the progress that the NGO made, we were selected in the Southeast as the largest producer of cassava, and therefore we were sent to Nigeria by the government of Liberia. When we returned, government built 6 factories in Liberia. One of them was in the Southeast, which was built for Citizens Against Poverty. Today, the factory is there. In Shedistown, we have a rice factory there that is processing rice. And we produce about almost 3,000 bags of rice a couple of years ago when the factory was operational. We also had
since you talk about the factory, let me see if this is the factory.
It's not coming through.
I don't know why it's not coming through. Okay. I'll come back to it. Go ahead, continue.
Okay, the factory that you have in your possession is the cassava processing factory. That's not for the rice. That is for the cassava. And just a couple of months, or a few months ago, before I came back to the States, we did processing of cassava in the factory that you have, and we took the produce to the show that was being held in Banga. While we were at that show, when we did return, it was reported that some people went out into the factory area and took away our brand new 65 kVA generator, leaving us with over 50 acres of cassava that we cannot ride. That is the factory, and that's the machine that is within the factory, that a flash dryer that was bought by a grant.
Let me zoom the picture in a little bit so people can see.
And that's me standing right there. That is in the factory. That machine is called the flash dryer.
Okay. So let's talk about it a little bit.
Yeah?
Just talk about the factory setup, talk about the machine, talk about the generator story you're talking about.
The factory has a couple of machines in it through a government grant. This machine that you look at is called the flash dryer.
When you say government grant, be specific, Liberian government or international?
Liberian government through the Ministry of Agriculture.
Okay.
Grant us, bought this machine, built the factory. This machine is called a flash dryer. It's used to dry fufu. It's used to do deeper and just process cassava on the mass level. There are other machines in there that does the cassava peeling. There are another machine that does the grating of the cassava. And what you see right there is some of the cassava that come from the farm. And the factory that you see has a
These are
water.
very big cassava, though. Look at this
Yeah,
cassava.
right. It has a water supply. It has three offices within it. It has a storeroom. And so it's a huge facility that is being built out there. And so that's what we're operating on right now. And so when that generator got stolen, as a matter of fact, I had some health issues. So I just came onto the States a few months ago, and I'm preparing to go back home because I think I am very much still interested in going back into agriculture because it's one way we're able to reduce poverty and put food on the tables. If we use the cassava flour that is being produced from this factory, we have trained the ladies within Juazon district how to use the cassava flour to produce different kinds of pastry, which will eventually reduce the price of a donor or color by over 50% to enable those very poor children to be able to have a decent recess at least.
And that would be cassava color.
Yeah, cassava color, cassava flower
I
color.
don't know.
And so when the NGO phases out, because we wanted to now move the operation into a permanent program and not an NGO, the NGO has a specific duration, a project has a duration. So we form what we now call Citizen Farms Incorporated. So all of the assets of CAP have now been turned over to Citizen Farms Incorporated. And now CAP will be solely responsible to do humanitarian in terms of education and health. So that's where we are. So presently, the factory, the farming is going on. I have two sets of farms. One is in Shedistown and one is in Juazon in Cheeto Town. So that's how far we are right now in terms of the farming.
So let's talk about what all of the agriculture produce that you are growing. Is it just cassava and rice? Are there other things?
We do cassava, rice, and vegetables.
Okay.
We are
Name.
we are much more interested in short-term food crops, diversified short-term food crops, because over the many years, the major part of when we say agriculture in Liberia is being referring to rubber, and now palm is taking the location now. Palm and rubber are basically foreign exports. We do not enjoy the benefit of having rubber or enjoying the fruits of the rubber in Liberia compared to producing rice and cassava that can be consumed locally. So again, we are specialized in doing short-term food crops and not cash crops.
So the quick question here is this generator, because in the absence of this generator, it's a blow to your industry on the mass production and restoration. And when I say restoration, meaning to store your product, because the factory helps you to dry, process it into different products, be it deeper, be it flour, be it farina, what have you, right?
Right.
So were you in Liberia when the generator was stolen?
Yes,
Because
I was. I was.
what I'm hearing is that this generator was put there by a crane,
Yeah.
and how could that be done without people having any hand inside job? What's the investigation is about right now? Because it surprises me. A 65 kVA generator is no small instrument to just even 10 men can lift it up. So
That's that's a
so
fact.
so was the whole village the one involved and took the generator? What a story.
But the generator, the factory actually is not built in the village
Okay.
because if you begin to process cassava on such a large scale, the cassava produces things, you saw the trash. And so the factory is built between two towns, two little villages. Just from one is about 5 minutes away from that village. Another one is maybe about 10, 15 minutes from that village. So it's right in between there. But we had a watchman. But of course, if people went with the intention of stealing a generator in such a fashion, they, according to those hearsay that say more about 15 persons were in a truck that went onto the factory. So of course, the watchman at the time said he was not present that night when it happens. When that happened, we wrote all of the officials of government, all of the chiefs in the around the villages, having meeting with them to see how we can recover this generator. And up to today's day, there has not been a single arrest made in reference to retrieving the generator. Uh, so
Usually,
that's the situation with the generator.
usually a situation when
But
you
let
I
me.
think it was this way. They asked the question: was there anyone disgruntled? Was there any staff who didn't feel you pay them, or did you see any signal?
Well, one thing I do know, Bro Shelton, every staff that worked for our institution was paid and paid as promised and paid timely. And so I don't know of any staff who may have been disgruntled and as a result want to do social harm. But what the community fails to realize is the harm in taking such a generator is much more greater on their side than me, because that factory was capable of producing and putting in the hands of the community people at least up to a million and a half monthly if to procure cassava for those that have cassava farms. And if we can put $1.5 million, Liberian dollar, into the hands of farmers around the community, in a 12 months time, you know how much we can do. And even at that rate, if we go maximum level, we can about putting $2 million into the hands of cassava growers, and which will be able to improve the community to a large extent that we did in Town. So when the machine is missing and nobody is able to identify or to say who has taken it, it shows that the community itself has a major problem in terms of cooperation. But however, I am here. I was feeling very bad. I got sick and I came onto the States, and I'm preparing to return home to read, invigorate, invite the community back to the table so that we can be able to produce and help ourselves and help our community.
So yeah, Mr. Swallow, let's learn a bit about your investment. Tell us. First, I sympathize with your loss. 65 kVA is not a joke. So, like most of the viewers are saying, how possible could that be that a 65 kVA taken away, and no one is able to really tell us how this happened, who has been arrested, and all of that. Uh, the investment we're talking about, yeah, how much would it support from government? Because I heard you say the Liberian government gave you a grant through the Ministry of Agriculture. How much did you guys put into this project? How many jobs you created? Can you speak to that?
Sure. Indeed, firstly, before the government of Liberia came in,
Hmm.
when I came from the States and did work for the government of Liberia through the Ministry of Agriculture, uh, we took our own, my family, my wife and myself, our savings. We have up to $65,000 that we invested in an initial farm, which was in Town with rice and cassava and also vegetables. And it was this farm that the NGO called WAP that was also in the southeast saw, and they say, but when you come to Morovia, come to our office so we can discuss, because their farming process is very impressive. You got our young people around working, so come to the office. And that's how we begin the negotiation with the Ministry of Agriculture. And then they gave us $150,000. And so that's how we began to do the farm from 12 hectares to 225, 12 acres to 225 acres, as it is in Juason, Town,
Hmm.
before we move on to establish another spot uh, in Town. So yes, that's the amount that was given to us from the government of Liberia.
Okay.
And we hoping that again we can be able to attract some funding from the government or from any other source to be able to help the community people, to help the young people, because without jobs, the young people are now migrating to the big cities, leaving the communities empty. And agriculture job, especially the way we do it in Liberia, is manual. It's all manual driven, and it requires the effort of young people. So when all the young people begin to migrate from the interior up to the capital cities, when they do not have the capacity to work in the capital cities, then they eventually turn into zogos and ineffective in the community. So we need to be able to put something back there, back the interior where they are, so that they can remain within there. When we had CAP, we had 73 permanent employees. And through 73 persons, we were able to build 15 new houses. We can even do much more. We can do better than that if we're able to resuscitate the program, especially through the mechanism and through our method of farming. We have interjected um, through LFPP, Liberia Food Production Program. They have a philosophy of saying they will use a program called a method called sedentary and contiguous farming. What that means is the traditional farming in Liberia is rotational. The farmer makes a farm this year right here. Usually the biggest farm will be about 1.5 acre or the most 2 acre. That's a very, very big farm for them. So every year they change the spot. And we are saying, no, we cannot change our spots every year because it's labor intensive. So therefore, we will farm to one locality. But what we do is we farm also side by side. We not allow everybody to just spread their farms all over the forest, but we work side by side. So if there are 10 farmers within a particular village, they do the 10 farms side by side together. They work together and produce together. So every year we produce and work on the same location. If the area become exhausted, it's not producing up to what we need to do, then we'll do a crop rotation. For example, if we planted rice on this location for the last 2 years and now it's
Mhm.
not producing more rice, we decide we could put beans, or we can put potatoes, or we can put arrows, or we can put yams, something that will be able to replenish the nutrients that were lost by the overuse of one crop.
Okay.
And so those were the methods that we use, and we have gone through the entire community, telling them the importance of working together as a team. Individual farming is slavery. It's even more than slavery because within the same farming year, the same farming season, they cannot produce enough food to even feed themselves alone. They have to end up buying rice. But when we operated in Shedistown in March, putting 73% together, we were able to produce 3,000 bags. We could have possibly produced 10,000, but because we did not receive the second tranche of the money that we were expecting, we resorted into sharing the produce. You cut 10 bundles of rice, you take five, we take five. So as you can see right there, we lost 50% of the harvest right there. Then as we went further, they got tired because the roads were bad. We couldn't go anywhere to bring in more people to do the harvest. So we resorted now, if you cut 10, you take seven, and we take three. So you can see that was one of the reasons why the organization really went nose down because we have lost
Yeah, because of
all the produce that we take.
you losing a lot.
Basically, again, another thing that really disintegrated the community, the farming work that we were doing, is the cassava that we produce. We did 65 acres of cassava in Shedistown, which was the basis for us having a cassava factory. The cassava factory didn't get completed, they didn't get complete until 2 years after. So the entire 65 acres of cassava was eaten by animals, stolen by people, and most of it got rotten before the factory got completed. So we lost almost about 60% of our rice. We lost 100% of the cassava. So therefore, we just began to struggle, and I could not take the organization up. But
So,
I can tell you to conclude on that. I can tell you,
yeah, Mr. Swab,
yeah,
uh, with all the produce that you just spoke about,
Hmm.
Were you guys in the business of exportation? Who were your buyers, and what was the quantity that you were selling out there to people?
Especially rice. Our rice.
Hmm.
Look, every community, every people in the community bought rice. They bought Pusawa rice, or they bought part of the, or they bought white rice from the Chinese. We sold our rice. The most of the rice was sold in Juazon.
Okay.
We distributed it to shops in the various towns. So
And
they sold the rice there.
did you bag the rice,
Yes,
or
we
what
did.
was
We
the
did. We
system?
bagged the
Okay.
rice. We bagged the rice, and
Mhm.
we took about half of the rice to Morovia. And if I was leaving from Sano to Morovia,
Mm.
make some few calls or send emails around. And by the time I get home, my house is like a car sale garage. Cars are already there to pick up the rice. Some buying 10 bags, some buying 15 bags. So the demand for the rice locally is just as high.
Was it a country rice?
Yeah, the country rice, the rare country rice.
Wow,
Okay.
good food,
Yeah,
good food. But listen, I want to ask you here quickly. Uh, my man Flomo Livingstone, he pointed a good point here. He says that corruption is pandemic in Liberia. The
yeah.
only day the security man didn't work was the day that the people went there and stole the doggone generator. So the security man decided to stay home and say, "My man, you go collect the thing." Then you say you agree to it. But why don't you go check all the diamond mine, gold mine in that area? Or in sound of the mining, they needed a generator, my man. You go look for the thing. Yeah,
Well,
yeah, man.
Liberia is a country of law. Or you can't take law into your
And
own
not
hand.
now take it all. Go look
We
for it.
wrote,
When you see it, then you call it law.
we wrote, we wrote the police department in Greenville.
Police waiting.
The
The
police,
part.
the police department in Greenville, we wrote the police department in Juazon, we wrote the chiefs, we wrote the senators, we wrote the representative, and I mean, and that was all we could do. And, waiting to see what will happen, and
All right.
practically nothing happened.
Okay, so let's go to some of these pictures and explain to us these pictures and tell us exactly what's going on here with most of these pictures.
Okay.
Why is it not coming through again? What's going on here with this thing?
Okay, while you trying to get that volcano, let me follow up on this security thing. You spoke about the police department, security in in the area that you were operating from. How effective is the security system in rural Sino? Yeah,
Well,
because if you're going to track criminals, you
yeah.
yourself must be mobilized. Do we have an effective security system in in our county?
Well, the farm is situated in Juazon district.
Yeah.
And as much as I know, officially in Juazon district before I left, I think there were either two or three policemen assigned to the entire district.
Oh wow.
So how much they could do, I don't
So
know.
you
But
call
that,
two. So hold on. You call 2 men, 3 men department. You said police department. You know what
yeah,
constitutes a department, sir?
yeah,
No,
that's what
no,
department. I
that's
mean,
the Liberian standard. That's
Hold
why
on, my
he's
man.
telling
Hold
you.
on. No, we got what type of country is this? Only two men that constitute a whole department.
but yeah, of course, that's a department. I mean, that's a police authority in the district. So
Yeah,
how will you classify them? Police
Okay, I
department.
gotta define
yeah,
department. What
yeah.
constitutes a department?
Do
Oh,
they have a vehicle?
they got motorbike or we
I
bar.
mean, we're
Uh,
talking about 65 kVA. Yeah.
yeah,
How,
yeah.
how
That
how
went
do
through the
you
checkpoint. That
yeah,
went
how do you
through
go
all the
after
checkpoints.
this? Yeah, how do you trace this kind of equipment with only three police officers? Do they have
That's the issue.
vehicle?
No, I think those are some of the shortfall. Those are some of the handicaps
Oh wow.
that the security people have. Even we went to Greenville, the Greenville people sent us a couple of police person to come to the ground to investigate.
Yeah.
But to date, I don't know what the outcome of the investigation has been or was. Uh, but Moses, I consider it a loss. But
It's
as
a
a matter of
significant
fact,
loss. Yeah.
sometimes losses happen in businesses. That should not be the reason why we should pack our loads and quit.
Okay.
So I'm here. Many person calling me, "Oh, Mr. Swat, are you coming back? Are you coming back?" Yes, I'm coming back. To those who've been asking, I'm coming back. And I'm coming back to mobilize the young men and women because it is only when we come together as a team can we produce some meaningful results like we saw the last time. So
Mm-hmm.
I am coming back. The loss of one generator will not stop the operations that we started in Sino. I am not agriculturalist by profession. I'm an accountant and banker, and I decided to leave those desk jobs to go back to the interior to recruit. I'm sorry I couldn't get a video to you guys to see physically
So yeah,
the.
but that's why I was bringing these pictures now, so you can tell us uh why this thing, why I keep doing it. I'm having a signal problem. Hold on, let me see. Okay, there we
Yeah,
go.
yeah,
So tell us first of all, we're
So
gonna go
what is the
through.
what? Cassava steak?
yeah.
We're gonna
Those are
go through
cassava
three
stakes that we
pictures.
planted. Those
Okay.
some of the cassava stakes to show you the
Oh
quantity of
wow.
cassava that were planted within there. This were used to do the 65 acres of cassava that we had in Shiristown
So
before the factory
is
was
this
built.
is this the planting? Is this a cassava field?
Yeah, this is cassava. This is cassava state. We intercrop the cassava and the rice. We plant the
Okay.
rice first, then we do the cassava.
So
Why
both
you?
of them in the same field.
Yeah, in the same field. There are certain places that we may not plant cassava because the place is either too wet.
To some swampy.
Yeah, swampy. Then we don't plant cassava there.
So
Or
was this mechanized farming?
well, if you think in terms of the size, you could say mechanizing, but it was
More manual.
manual driven.
Oh
We
wow, it
took
was a lot
axe
of
and
work
cutlass
then. It
and
was a lot of
hoes.
work. Yeah.
Imagine the field you're looking at right now is where we did our vegetable. Imagine how long it took and how many men it took to remove the storms all that place, to
Mm-hmm.
be able to part the dike up into where it is. The
Wow.
picture you see that that's the farm. That's the road leading into the farm because we took a road straight up to the farm. This is a 225 acres of farm. You
Okay,
see
Okay.
that when we bring the
I
farm.
see some stakes dividing on both sides, so that made it the road to
That's
go
that's
up
the road.
all the way up there.
Yeah, because when you dig 20 bags of cassava up there, you can't bring it down by yourself.
Yeah,
So we have
go
to
all the road.
so the car we got 4 rows into the farm. It's
Wow.
225 acres, so we have
It
4 rows
was
into it.
Okay,
it is
let's see.
absolutely
So
manual
is
labor.
this one of the pickup
Mhm.
truck you guys use?
Yeah, that's my Chinese truck there.
Okay.
Okay.
And so these trenches that we're looking at, or gutter, or how you want to call it, this is where the rice went, or the cassava.
I'm not seeing any trench. I'm only seeing the vehicle.
Oh
Wait.
no,
No, he's talking
I'm
about the photos before.
Oh, the photo before we
Yeah.
the sticks that are
With the
on the
general
side
man. Yeah.
are meant to divide or separate from where the people were planting the
Okay.
rice. Oh, here, this is where we planted vegetables.
oh, in
Okay.
these gutter,
Yeah.
in these things that look like gutter.
Yeah, we just did the gutter so that when you water it, the water doesn't get soaked into it, or when it rain too heavy, it doesn't get soaked in it. You have a way to drain out
Okay.
and a
So
way
these
of
are some of your
separating.
farmers. These are some
Separate,
of the farm. Can you see the
right.
next picture?
You see how much. You see how many young people that was employed over there,
Okay.
boys and girls. You see them.
Okay.
All right.
73 number, as you can see. See, all of them got the helmets. Those are the supervisors. They
Okay.
all use rain boots to avoid injury on the farm. And this program was so joyous in the implementation phase.
Okay.
So what are
Right?
these? Are these bamboos in your hand?
Yes, we were about to put fire on the farm.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
when we cut the trees down,
Hmm.
there are 9 or 10 critical steps in this manual farming.
Okay.
And it requires a lot of manpower. Take, for example, if you want to do 1 hectare of farmland a day to brush it, it takes a minimum of 12 men to do just 1 hectare, that's 2.5 acres a
Mhm.
day. And so imagine you got to fell the trees, which is the second step. When you finish felling the tree, you have to be able to slash the trees so that the limbs can go down, so that when you put fire, it can burn properly. Then after you have slashed the trees, when they get dry, and you burn it. So right now we're about to take the fourth stage to burn the farm. When we burn the farm, then we have to clear the farm because there are certain portions that will get burned and certain portions will not burn. So we need to gather those branches as much as we can and to clear the farm for the ladies to go do the planting. After the planting is done, depending on the situation, we got to put a fence around the farm to avoid the
Groundhog.
rodents,
Yeah,
Yeah.
groundhog
Yeah.
is
the
here.
animals who got now in Sino. It's a different kinds of rodent we're talking about over there. Some of them we cannot even guard against them by our fences.
Okay.
You got your pansy in there. You have hogs. You have what we call bush cow. I don't know what they call
Is that the antelope?
No,
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 not
that's not.
antelope. Bush cow. That
Bush
how
cow, bush
yeah.
cow
Mhm.
is what we
Uh,
call
Buffalo.
buffalo.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And those kind of animals, there's no fence that you can put against them. And even elephants.
Oh wow.
Elephants come as close as to the farm. So, in addition to all the difficult work that you do to do the farming work, when you have these big animals coming in, you got a serious problem. You see that they say work without play, major.
Major double, yeah.
So you see, we're celebrating there with the farmers, and that means there with my white helmet, and we're singing and
That's
we're
good.
dancing, and
Yeah.
we're bringing some king juice, and we're doing all kinds of things, eating.
All kind of thing.
So
Right,
Moses, we're discussing the
yeah.
picture. Yeah, we'll come to question.
Mhm.
So
right there.
that
You see, besides planting the cassava, you got to be able to weed the
okay.
cassava. If you weed the cassava, you give it the full potential to produce. So as you can see through the cassava, you see there's no weeds. The
So the
little
Lola,
one that there,
hold on, Lola, no barber in the village because the other haircut. Yeah, I understand that.
What are you talking about?
no
So
man.
that way in the agriculture there.
When you put 73 boys and girls together, there gotta be some kind of Bible among us. There gotta be some kind of Bible.
And I best you
Somebody,
could get.
Yeah,
I
man.
best you could get.
yeah,
Hold
that's
on.
it.
See what
Uh,
you do, man. Make
no,
it.
look, my man, my favorite here, Papa in Abura. I don't joke with Papa. I can enjoy myself with Papa.
Okay.
Where is it?
Yeah, the Papa there. You can see the picture.
No.
That's
Okay.
the
Yeah. It
picture
just came true.
there. Now Moses, you see this purple tree you see here, so
Amen.
there's no fertilizer in them.
Hmm.
We planted, I think
We
about
call it
50.
organic here in America,
This
right?
is purely
Yeah.
organic, my man.
Mm-hmm.
So
That purple,
you produce this quantity of purple. Were you able to sell then, or they just rot?
I
Yeah.
could not sell them. I attempted twice. I filled
Wow.
that pickup truck,
Oh
wrapped
my
them all with
God.
leaves and with all kinds of stuff. And by the time that pickup bounced 1 million times to reach Morovia,
All the
Everything's
Papa Bruce.
they
oh
all they all
yeah.
tend to mud. So all we
Wow.
do, the most we did with the purples, on a weekend, on a Friday evening, we'll call all the kids in the town together and we'll have what we call purple party. One party,
Hmm.
purple party,
Coke,
purple.
coke and eat.
Let me tell you something quickly. You know, Papa, I would just carry my ninja bullet and just do Papa Papa smoothie.
Yeah, yeah.
Just do Papa smoothie because the thing
Yeah,
is healthy, man.
exactly. Juicy, but we didn't have that, and that didn't come to mind. So that's how we sold the purple. If we have to say somebody passing by, we put few on the road. You come, you pay $50 for one, you're gone, or $20
Oh,
or $10, say you're gone.
So look at the rice farm here. You can see the distance,
Yeah, yeah. That's a right. That's a rice farm at the location of the factory. That's a factory in the background there. That's a factory in the background
And
there.
this is the factory.
Yeah, that's a factory there.
very
That's a
huge
factory.
facility.
On the right hand side, that's the Osa toilet there. On the left hand side is the water tower.
Okay, with the
I
general.
mean, a very, very, very modern factory. Very modern
Okay.
factory. See, that's at the front of the factory right there.
So,
Where
so
you
let
see
me,
this?
let me let you answer this question here. My man Flomo Livingstone, very smart guy. He says here, doing this kind of huge farm, why didn't you carry some heavy machinery? What would have been the impediment? Because we wanted to talk about some of the challenges. So talk about that before I go to more pictures.
Well,
I just want to give the audience chance to engage you. So Flomo Livingstone is asking you, why didn't you take some machinery instead of having 70 people go and do all this work manually?
yeah, the heavy machinery costs a lot of money.
Okay.
And the disadvantage we have as farmers in Sano County, there's no access to sand. Access to sano on the road is almost impossible.
Hmm.
Or it's
And we got hold on, and we got biomedicine. The man say he built
And
the four roads in the country.
yeah,
well,
and just about just what he's saying. You produce everything. You have no access to market.
no market.
That's a
No,
significant
but the
impediment.
only the only good thing is when we begin to process, then you can reserve it. At least if the car hitch on the road for 3 4 days, it's processed already.
Then the puke.
Yeah. But the cassava farm, unfortunately, before the factory came online, is already have taken too long. So we lost the cassava. We could have sold the cassava if the road was accessible.
But
Put
so
loads of cassava and take it to the market, but we cannot.
let me answer this question for Tony Brooks. Tony Brooks said, why you never include the restroom and toilet in the building? Tony, I will answer the question for him. You know there's no running water. Then you go put toilet inside the building where the people facing the food, where they producing the food. Huh? You just said to now. You think that America here?
Thank you for telling all that.
You can't put it inside. It gotta be outside. So when things start smelling, you know, disturb the factory workers or the food. It has to be hygienic. So yes,
Yeah.
that's why I would just common sense will tell you that when you're doing something where you don't have running water or constant electricity, the people already finished stealing the generator. So I don't even know if the fan was on set to stop the.
Yeah, but Volcano, let me come
That's
to
the layman
Moses.
answer I can give you.
Yeah, let me come to Moses' question in reference to the guy who asked why we didn't take machinery.
Yeah.
I think this is the direction the farming system in Liberia need to take. My brother, if you take 12 men for 8 hours that can only do 1 hectare a day,
Yeah.
that is impossible.
It is.
All of the countries that produce massive food that send food to us for sale, the China, the India, the America, Britain, whoever send food to us, none of them using ice, cutlass, and hoe.
No
They are using
machines.
massive tractors that will de-storm, that will plow, that will plant, that will be able to harvest and even clean. This is where Liberia needs to go. We
Mr.
got
Suwa, Mr.
the
Suwa,
large
I'll
land.
pause you there. You said here you work with the Ministry of Agriculture.
Yeah.
We have heard about the Ministry of Agriculture. We heard about the late Florence Chino with peace be to her ashes. I don't know how much she did. We've seen Joseph Boaga Agriculture. All these people, and yet we're still talking about cutlasses and hoe.
Right.
Mr. Suwa, you work at the Ministry of Agriculture. Are we really serious about agriculture? Are we
No.
really serious about putting our country anywhere to produce on a mass scale for export, import, whatever you want to call it? Meaning when I say use the word import, meaning it stays here with us and then we can send it out to neighboring countries or the world. Are we really serious?
Volcano, in the absence of machines, every other country that produce on a mass level use machines.
So then I will pause you there again. You work with the
Without
Ministry.
machines,
I come in. You work with the Ministry of Agriculture.
yeah.
What is the Ministry of Agriculture budget, and what is the allotment internally in the Ministry of Agriculture regarding putting money to machineries, looking at project and say this other project for rice planting, these are the number of machines we use, or people just get salary? Because I found these governments to only pay salary and do nothing whatsoever for the country. People work at the Ministry of Agriculture, insiders that I know were making thousands and thousands of US dollars. Okay? So what the Ministry of Agriculture did over the years to now, to Elling's government, to we are government, are they just administrating salary, or are they really purchasing machines to be given to people like you, David Suwa, who is serious about agriculture? And look at all that purple. You're making me feel bad. All that purple just poor.
Yeah, the cassava, everything.
I
Yeah.
What
think
the Ministry of Agriculture putting into agriculture?
to answer that question, I think the government itself and not the ministry. When I was at the Ministry of Agriculture, the ministry budget was $2 million.
Which is basically nothing.
I dropped my head. Now
Yeah,
I'm
$2
just
million,
No,
$2.5 million.
the agriculture ministry is one of the least supported.
then
Yeah,
you
Yeah,
take
so
it.
the ministry
Hold
itself,
on, sir. Then you take $11 million and give it to foreigners to drop the price of rice. Then you come back and say, oh, you know what? The Ukraine war, no wheat, no this. And so we can't drop the price of rice. So now rice is $22 for 20. And when people use the word bag of rice, they got to stop it. They got
it's a bag.
They got to
It's a
stop
bag.
it. Can I be calling a 25-pound rice. I won't even call it bag of rice. I'll call it a sack of rice. 25 pounds. 25 pounds for 22 hours.
You
Don't
know,
be calling out thing bag of rice. And now
I think,
this is where we are. So
I think,
you make your ministry budget 2 million, but you
yeah.
get 11 million to importers. You see the oxymoron here?
And as a matter of fact, the I think ECOWAS had a meeting somewhere out of Liberia, and they agreed and they said each government should contribute 10% of their budget to agriculture. But Minister of Agriculture never got even 5%, not even 3%.
No.
So the folks at the ministry, they incapacitated. They can only basically respond to salaries, and not much they can do. Not much they can do
Listen,
at
man,
all.
listen. Thomas Awaji says here, I am not an agriculturalist, but I would love to be a part of this venture. So I will
Okay,
put you in
that's
touch
good.
with Thomas Awaji, Mr. Suwa, so you can talk to him.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
I will give his number to you. I'm sure he's willing to talk to you.
Yeah.
Then Mr. Emmanuel Jackson also asking, Mr. Suwa, are you thinking about organizing a national cooperative for this kind of initiative in Sando County?
Basically,
That's good. Yeah.
the our program, our plan of action is if I return home, before I left, we have organized series of cooperatives into the various towns. We don't mean that all of the people in the district were playing rice and cassava. That's why we diversified our efforts. So we will establish different cooperatives so that the production aspect of this cassava and rice will not be our burden. The community will take upon the production and we will be the off taker. We have the sample farm that will show how fast you plant the cassava and how to be able to do the rice and what kind of rice will be done. They want to have a shorter duration. So we have trained, and as a matter of fact, when we're producing the cassava flour, we train all of the women within the community to use the cassava flour to produce the various pastries that they want to produce. So yes, we are involving the entire community into production. If we did that, that's how you can see all those young people were meeting in the community at a time when we're at the height of our function. They were not going to Morovia because they will get their pay after 2 weeks.
Talk
Instead of
about
paying,
pay, what you are paying them at
we're
least.
paying $5 per day.
The average pay,
Oh, that's not bad. Five
Five
dollars.
that's
dollars a
what.
day, that equal to $100 a month because we're doing only 5 days work week.
Okay.
That's not bad.
And so instead of waiting for the end of the month, we did it into every 2 weeks we made a pay, and that was very attractive to them. You
So,
Like,
imagine,
you in Sando County in the village and making $50 every 2 weeks. You're
yeah,
the man.
you got enough
no,
food to eat,
Why you
well,
got people in Maruga Moses making $45? Tell me now.
and they got to
well,
pay their way to go to work.
coming back to that, the labor law provides that the average Liberian
Oh
earns
Lord.
a little over $5 and maybe 5.50 or so on a daily basis. So the average pay as per the labor law is a little over $150. So if you were paying somebody $100 a month, yeah, okay, it's understandable because the cost of living,
Moses,
yeah, yeah.
don't do that one here because I will get very vexed with you.
Why?
Sitting down here, Ministry of Information paying people $45. This
I'm a
man,
security man.
come
Yeah.
in. This man in his private capacity paying people $100. Eh?
Mhm,
Then you
mhm.
sit down here and can't do your hand like they're talking about the
No,
average
the
law.
point I was
The
trying
labor
to
law, the government that created a labor law, are they following the labor law when they harmonize and pay people $45?
I absolutely agree. He look, Mr. Swa, you are doing a remarkable,
That's what you're supposed to be
you are
saying.
doing a remarkable, thing in Sano County. You need to be commended for that. The follow up question I would like to ask to what Volcano asked you is that you're paying salaries, but every business that we do, we expect to make profit on a monthly basis, on a quarterly basis. We don't want you to throw all your numbers at us, but
Give an estimate.
were you guys making profit?
No,
Because like you were spending more money than you were actually earning.
we were capable of making profit. The
Okay.
business were on the move to make profit.
Yeah.
Even with a $5 payment a day,
Mm-hmm.
we were about to make profit.
Okay.
But
And
now notice
we eat it right, so Moses understands that they were not laboring 30 days a month. You said it was selected, right?
20 days a month,
You
20
Yeah,
days.
see,
20 days. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
when they
it's the
admit,
same 20 day in government too.
no, no,
20
no,
Right.
days
and
a
some
month.
people working 6 days. Go to the Chinese, people's
No.
casino, go to the hotels. The people are working 6 days a week. Most of you not in
Okay.
Liberia, I'm
That,
telling
that's another story. That's another story.
all
Uh,
I
Yeah.
just
uh,
want to make
uh,
the note
uh,
that you know
uh, uh,
5 days a
uh,
week. I've been here.
Yeah.
Moses,
Yeah.
out of 225 acres farm,
Mm-hmm.
if that farm was clear, like the regular farm that we see around here,
Yeah.
like I just left, I just traveled through Delaware and Virginia, and I saw farms and saw farmland. See the corn farm, for example. Those farms are clear completely. There's no stump on the ground. There's no roots in the ground. In that way, you can quantify your production. You can even budget that. If I did 25 acres, at the end of 25 acres, I'm able to harvest X tons of corn and sell at this price, and you can make the projection very easily. Yes, we could have made profit, but when the rain came in and we could not bring back
So,
people to the farm to help us to harvest, coupled with that, that we didn't have money to pay them at the end of that process, when WAP did not give us our second tranche of the money that they promised us. So we then begin to do sharing of the produce in half at one point. At another point, we get them 7 out of 10.
yeah, it was sad.
So we lost. Then on top of it, another cushion that we had, the cassava, 60 acres of cassava was not processed, neither was it sold. Because the factory was built, it took 2 years plus before the factory came online. And by the time the factory came online, the cassava was already gone. So that incapacitated the business completely. So we did
Hmm.
not make profit. Yes, we sold some rice, but we did not make profit.
Okay.
But is there a possibility of making profit? Farming is one way that can make us millionaires in Liberia in 3 years if we
It's
get the
true.
right niche of investment.
Let's
There's
go
no
to the,
sector that is capable of changing our lives, impacting our community, helping the community to build schools, helping the community to build hospitals without relying on government. We can do that through agriculture.
When you,
let's go to
okay.
intermission, please.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Volcano.
Gentlemen, ladies, if you're watching us, you're in the 176th broadcast here in the Issues Room, the alternative social media platform on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, and on our Issues Room page. We encourage you to join us here Tuesdays and Fridays, where we discuss the things that are pertinent to our country, Liberia, to the African continent, and the Black diaspora. Of course, tonight's conversation is a good one. It's not more of the politicking we talk about every day, even though we're in the campaign season. Of course, we got to tease it a little bit, but this is a great conversation, educated for those of you who are contemplating going into small farming. Liberia is green, Liberia is fertile, Liberia can grow anything. We can even grow apple, even though the people stopping us from growing apple because they can poison the seed and just send the apple to us. But if we really take the real apple seed, we can grow it in Liberia. We have the climate to grow anything. But yes, this conversation is so important, and we want you to continue to share the link, encourage others to join us here tonight. Our guest is Mr. David Sua, Moses Sandy, Volcano Shelton, Alphonso Yen couldn't be here with us tonight. Moses is bereaved. He lost his brother today as we speak. I'm making it to be here with us, and he's doing very well, even though bereaved. His only brother, and we are in sympathy with our man Moses, and we hope that he would gather the strength after this broadcast to endure, because the real deal is around the corner. For those of us who've lost family members, especially those who are closer to us, honestly, it's painful, and we hope Moses will garner the strength in the coming days, in the coming weeks, to you know, just memorialize his brother. So again, we say thank
Yeah.
you for joining us. We will be moving into the next segment. We have a
Yeah.
few
So,
Moses.
Volcano.
Moses, come with me. We have a few more minutes. Yeah, hang on.
Yeah.
A few
Mhm.
more minutes to go with Mr. Suwa on this agriculture thing because we have to go into whatever country and whatever else we can do. But we were still rolling the picture, Moses, and I'll roll the picture quick just to finish it up. And then we can go into the next last segment where you can ask questions. So this is still the Kasawa. These are the people. I think that ends the picture because yeah,
Mhm.
that ends the picture. Um,
Okay.
so
Yeah. So, Mr. Swat,
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask you this. You know, given what we have seen, the photos and the excellent job that you and your people, have done over the year, would you say that one of your foremost or one of the foremost challenges of undertaking these kind of projects, in rural Liberia is rural connectivity?
Role connectivity plays a very major role, but there's also the idea of capital.
Okay.
Look, this morning I was reading on the internet the UNDP page. The UNDP page suggests that 51% of the population in Liberia live on less than $1.50 a day. 72% of the rural area is in abject poverty, 30% in urban. Rank 175 out of 189 countries, we are ranked poorest 175. Those numbers, especially people like us, all of us that are in the diaspora, should refocus that we have to be able to play a major role in how we can structure, how we can help the country to move forward. All right, we have
Yeah.
to. For example, right now, when some of our fellow brothers who live from here and go, some of them carry some old tires to sell, some carry some old trucks and old cars to sell, some carry old mattresses. Look, if you do that, you are catering to only a small segment of the market. But when you do agriculture holistically, you are responding to the entire community. Where there is food, people will always come there. You will have sales in Liberia. And as I'm here right now, I've been contacted by three major importers of food into the United States that will go back home and will begin to produce. They will help us. They will take all our export that we want to send overseas. So they're already a major market here in the diaspora. But there's also a major market back home because we buying all the Chinese, all the Japanese, all the food that is being brought, whether it's of a higher quality or not, we don't know, but we just buy. And so we need to come together as brothers and sisters in the diaspora to find money, buy tractors, and go back home and change the scenario for ourselves and for the next coming generation. To operate individually, look at the institution we work for here. They are all 2,000, 3,000 shareholders on them. So why can't we put our shares together to build companies in Liberia, especially agriculture? So I just want to urge those people that are listening to my voice. Yes, there is corruption in Liberia, but don't assume that everybody in Liberia is corrupt. We got to trust somebody. And as young as you are, one day will come that you don't want to go into a home here, into old folks' home. You want to retire home. What are you going back to Liberia? What investment do you have that will give you some kind of residual income? So I'm asking all of you, I will leave my number, leave my email address, and you can contact me if you're interested in this venture so we can be able to go into it. And I will pass the video so for Ken also, just in case if you need to add a video so you can see physically what has been done in terms of production and processing and sales so you can have a good idea. But I'm inviting all of you to the Citizen Farms Incorporated.
let
Thank
me
you.
just show this quickly. Now, mentor Nino Brown says here, Mr. Suwa, my dad did a lot of farming and there's 350 acres of fertile soil. What is your intake? Or I think he meant to say your input, or what is your take? Are you willing to get in touch with Mr. Brown? I can put you guys together to discuss because I think he says this is in Lower Lofa County. uh, beyond a little bit beyond Bombing County in that region, somewhere close up. I think between Bombing and Bapolu, somewhere in that region.
Well, yes, we you can put me in touch with him so we can have a talk. But again, to be able to do investment on such a huge piece of land, depending on what crops you want to do, you will need a machine to do the great work, to produce what you want to produce, to make a comfortable salary,
That's
to be
true.
able to change the lives of the community. You need to have
Mechanized farming.
machines.
Yeah, mechanized
Handwork, cutlass, and tools
for
and
making.
hoe. It will not hold it in this country because there's nobody who is exporting rice or cassava derivatives to Liberia is using their hand by using cassava and hand and cutlasses and hoe. We have to change. We have to invite legitimate companies to Liberia that will help us to invest millions into agriculture. Well, 150,000 or 200,000 cannot do anything. If you want to produce to feed the county, you're talking about producing, investing at least up to $1 million plus. And can we recover that money? Yes, 100% we can recover the money if we invest it and buy the tools and control it properly. We can double that money in a couple of years' time.
Let me quickly ask you, and let's move away a little bit from agriculture. We've discussed it, but let's bring it into the politics, the current day campaign, and all of that.
Man, a businessman.
No. He's comfortable. He's comfortable. Uh, Tell me right now. We understand Liberia is at a crossroad. We understand that we're going to elections come October 10. Mr. Sua, do you think the change in government
Retention.
the retention in government makes any difference in agriculture for the future of Liberia?
Well, I would think without much thinking that a change in government could make a major shift in government, in operation, and in the agricultural sector. For one reason is Joe Burka, Vice President Joe Burka, understands agriculture because he headed LPMC. When we process rice in the thousands of bags of rice to be exported, when we process cocoa, so he understands the dynamics of agriculture. So I think if we do a change in that process, we could possibly have a better outcome. Who, on the other hand, in terms of Mr. Weah is the most acclaimed African footballer. But today, Lone Star cannot go even beyond the preliminary. So the area in which he is master, the area in which he was crowned king, if it is the lowest functioning area right now, then what can you do to an area that he's not cognizant of, that he doesn't know anything about? So I think if we give Mr. Boyka the opportunity, I would believe that we will have a greater change. We'll reduce the number of Zokos, reduce the number of people who get in the streets at night and break into people's houses. A hungry man is an angry man. When we feed those boys, if they have enough food to eat, I'm sure the robbery and the killing will go down to some extent. So even though I'm here in America, I don't have access to voting in Liberia, but I will urge and I will advise that Joe Burka be considered very seriously.
And why you say that?
I think he explained himself
No, no,
already.
no. Why he
Uh,
says that?
Additionally, one of the reasons I say that, I listened to audio one day. The journalist asked Mrs. Salif, "Who do you think can be your best successor?" And Mrs. Salif said the following in the short term, that Joe Burka is the most trusted, Joe Burka is the most experienced, Joe Burka is the most honest. I can tell my back to him at night. I know you won't stop me in the bike. Uh, and personally, I have seen the work of Joe Burka and I've seen the work of Mr. Weir. So I think Joe Burka will do much more, a better job in the next 6 years than Mr. Weir will do.
Why is she then saying that Braga, if he becomes president, he should grow in her palm?
I
How
don't
can she say?
understand.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't understand after I listen to that audio, after I
Uh-huh.
listen to that interview, that Madam Salif will not support Joe Burka in becoming president for the Republic of Liberia. I do not know. I do not, honestly do not know. And I think Mrs. Saliva is being very dishonest with Liberian people and to herself by making those kind of statements that are recorded and going back and doing exactly the opposite. That is problematic. And so I rest my case there.
Moses.
Well, look, I think Mr. Sua drove on a very strong message, and I just want to say thank you for the good job you and your team continue to do in Sano County. This is very, very laudable. We hope that you will get international support because I know what is happening. A greater percentage is personal initiative with little funding coming here and there. So if we can get maybe 10 persons like you doing what you are currently doing, Liberia will rather be able to make an impact. But let me ask you this question. Have you ever thought about exporting the fufu? You know, most of us in the diaspora, so you go to Atlanta, I mean, you in Atlanta, you go to the African stores, you're buying your fufu, you're buying your duma, you're buying this. Have you thought about exporting to these kind of,
I
businesses?
know you're asking plenty of questions. James Fasukwe say, I wish to see photos of Joe Baga's farm anyway in Liberia. We talk about Joe Baga and farming, agriculture, but where he farm at? You see, this is why, no, Moses, you're coming with your question, but this
Yeah.
is why it makes it so difficult to make the case for some of these people. And I'll tell you this, Mr. Suwa. If I am a soccer icon, as Weah is, he won Ballon d'Or. Now it comes to the reality of the day. You just alluded to that, right? That he
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
cannot even produce a national team to cross the preliminary
Yeah.
in just continental Africa, right?
Mm-hmm.
He has not built one stadium. He has not, except the little funny parks he's building with artificial turf, not even good for the climatic condition of Liberia, but we have a good season that can do real grass. Then we question we are in this football thing. So now we come to Omen Baka. We say the man are agriculturist. That man being the Ministry of Agriculture, he been the LPMC. Their brother is asking for the man farm. So how do we show the farm here? Where the farm is?
Well,
You
I
know,
think over the past few years, Mr. Berger has been
them a man Flomo Livingston who is
He
a
has a farm
you
in
know,
Bombay.
I
He
mean,
has a farm in Bombay.
I want to
Yeah,
see Flomo Livingston say the Omega farm in Bomi Lofa.
right.
Hold on,
absolutely.
hold on.
He has.
Come
Yeah.
Livingstone, please send me some pictures. Let me show it to you. Yeah. Say I can show picture of look, listen, the issue room is a balanced place.
No,
The-
but
Hold on,
absolutely speaking, he have
Moses,
a
please.
farm. I
My
mean,
time.
yeah,
You will
yeah,
come in. You will come in. My time, please. I beg you. The same way we can say we are in build one stadium and we can point to it. The same way we know statistically the Liberian national team can go nowhere honor a football icon, the world best, who has not put any money into making the team successful. Then, if Mr. Barker has farms, I don't have access to those pictures. Please send me those pictures. If you can send it right now to my to the TI room, we'll post it because we gotta be balanced. We can be
yeah.
talking agriculture, Baga no agriculture, then we can show a farm. So you name three places Flomo Livingston. You said bombing, Lofa, and Bapolu. Send me picture right now, Ome. That's all I won't say. Let go. Let's have a conversation. We gotta balance this thing. Eh?
No, uh,
But isn't
Yeah.
that fair?
No, it's
yeah,
fair. It's
Yeah,
fair.
is
It's
it's fair,
fair.
man.
is
Fair.
fair. But
Uh-huh.
Volcano, I think
Emmanuel Jackson say he has a farm in Bapolu.
yeah.
What kind of farm? That pepper garden that plows
No,
on,
no. I think
you
the
know?
main question was, does he have a farm?
Yeah, that
He
was
didn't talk about whether it's cassava farm, sugarcane farm. His question was, does he have a farm? And people are saying
and
that
some
yes,
of
he
the white
has a
say that
farm.
we have one factory in Liberia to make football boots. So yeah, we know that we are in that factory in Liberia to make football boots. But let's listen.
Yeah.
I mean, if this is campaign season, eh?
Hmm.
And you pointing, you say you agriculturalist, you work as LPMC, you were managing director, you were minister of agriculture. Let's show some of the work in agriculture because our guest just said that the potential for agriculture to improve in the country under a Baka-led government is high compared to a WIA, right? So
Hmm.
if
Mm-hmm.
that's the case, then we must show some evidence.
But
Not just
Volcano, Volcano, if I could just come, and Mr. Swat, let me just say this.
Oh, the man said, hold on,
Yeah,
hold on. Your
but let
guest
me
said,
just complete
oh,
my
hold
thought
on.
there.
You can't complete your thought when I'm staying in action.
Mhm,
James Fasukwe said, at least we have seen Mr. Suwa farm. Our guest who came here, he showed his farm. Let's see
mhm.
Baga farms. That's all I'm saying. Go ahead.
But there are individuals out there who have attested to the fact that
Oh
the
man,
Ome has a farm.
attestation,
Where
attestation with no
Volcano?
evidence. No, no, no,
Yeah,
Moses, we can't
no
do that.
Volcano. Let me complete my thoughts.
Yeah, but don't use the
So
word
so
attest.
so basically, what I'm saying, yeah, I think when Mr. Suwa speak about agriculture, taking on a positive trend on a Boaka-led government, uh, he's speaking from the fact that Mr. Boaka has a history. Remember the cooperative society, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was booming in Nimba, Bone County, Lofa, all those places have
Moses, we talking
cooperatives.
reality now. Listen,
No,
you know,
no, no,
Moses,
but
let's do that. Moses, me myself,
no,
today.
no, no,
No, no, no,
Volcano,
no,
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 no. You use the word. You see what we're
no,
talking about here? We're
no,
talking. We're showing
Volcano,
pictures. We're showing evidence. Don't talk about
Volcano,
attestation. Don't
no,
tell me say somebody say. I won't see evidence, Moses.
Volcano.
Yeah.
Let me say this.
Plumber
Uh,
Livingston say he will send picture. Don't worry about it. You see the make it, he run away. Mr. Swallow, come back to the conversation. Flomo
Okay.
Livingston say he will send some picture. What
Okay.
we're talking about here, Brother Suwa, is that we are in the crossroad. We are in the camping season. We can't continue. We can't continue to dwell on the past. I said it in the beginning. If Mr. Boaga wants to be the president of Liberia, the generation, the voting generation, and you and I know it, today are the people who were born in the 90s.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yep.
They know nothing about Boaga.
True.
But when I hear say,
True.
even Boaga political party, the UP, doesn't even have a robust public relations to make the case. So let us sit here and just be talking muff talk. You can't come to the presidency in this social media age with muff talk. If you're doing muff talk, you're on your own. You
Yeah.
got to present evidence.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
same way we are saying to you, as a private citizen who were in the banking industry, and you saw agriculture as an opportunity to feed people and also to feed your family and sustain. You have shown us real pictures. Supporters can just come here and say, yeah, Bwaga got farm in Bombing, Lofa, and Bapolu. How do we make that case as a platform if we can't show evidence? It's unfair. We can't
Yep.
capitalize on Bwaga being an LPMC when the people who will be voting, you see, you're looking at that population of Zogo picking it. You're looking at that population, you see the people that are running the street, you see old people among it.
They don't
They
know. They don't know LPMC.
don't know there's no LPMC in fact, so they don't know it. The Ministry of Agriculture, they don't even know if Baka was there. So that's the reality we're talking about here.
Yeah.
I'll give
Right.
you a chance.
Okay. Um, my closing statement will not be on the political parties and election. My, my closing statement will want to commend the current Minister of Agriculture to encourage her that the small hand tools that the ministry is embarking upon right now could be because of budgetary limitation, or if we get alternative help from outside, let us invest into major tractors. We can recognize that would be the only way we can move the country forward and not by ice collars and holes. I see a couple of guys from the ministry in the field a few days, the divine collars and ice. I say, my God, what are we still divine ice and collars? And then basically again, I see that the various NGOs that are helping to support agriculture don't want to buy power source, don't want to buy power source. They still want us to use action colors. How much can you use? How much can you do with action colors? On the guise of climate change and preserving the forest. If Liberia must, on the guise of climate change and preserving the forest, right? If Liberia must, on the guise of climate change and preserving the forest, right? If Liberia must, on the guise of
Go ahead, talk.
okay, so we will have to be able to set aside land, X quantity of land that we can use for farming. The districts, the various towns will have to be able to demarcate and say this portion of the land will be for agriculture, and this portion will be for reserve forest. But in the absence of that clear demarcation, to put a blanket to say do not cut down the forest, it doesn't make any sense because the people that were buying rice from are not planting the rice in the forest. They have forest before they cut it down. So you see massive farm, 10 miles, 15 miles, 20 miles of some of these farms. You can find one stage standing up in there. In order to stop deforestation, we must identify areas of farming for the community, adequate enough to produce food, to satisfy ourselves, and then to export. So deforestation should not be our major problem for which we are refusing to get power tools, to get power saws, to buy tractors. If we don't do those things, we are wasting our time. We are just enriching the countries that we're buying food from. We are just depriving of our young people from getting jobs. We import all the food, we are exporting all the jobs and creating more Zocos. So I want to urge the government, whichever government coming to power, to prioritize agriculture because that sector alone,
I
it takes you a shorter time to train people to produce. I thank you, Volcano, and
All right, stay
Moses for
there.
the time.
Stay there quick. Let me. I was trying to find this video quick. Sent to me by Flomo Livingstone. We're just trying to balance the equation here tonight, and we want to make sure that we're doing due diligence to our viewers. So this is not we're not fighting. We're just trying to make sure that we can get this stuff done. Now I don't know why it's not trying to share. It's something that's
But
with this.
but why you try to bring the video for
Yeah,
Canada?
go ahead.
Why you try to bring the video? I just want to piggyback on what Mr. Suarez said. There is nothing debatable. It's public information. You have someone who served as Minister of Agriculture before. You have someone who served as Managing Director of one of the most viable
All right,
agricultural
Moses,
entity in Liberia.
just pause since I have the opportunity to play the video.
and ladies and gentlemen, I
Can you guys hear it?
and drive me
Yeah,
towards
Okay, good.
Ambassador Joke said Waka Farm. And as you can see the road, and Ambassador Boaka have what 500 acres of land in this particular area. You're going to see the sample what I'm talking about, and I just want for people to know that the Sabaka have a farm in Bakburu County that got 500 acres of land. Even employ over 700 Liberians. They are all working on the farm here. As you can see, the sample yet. I will make a stop here and see what we're talking about. And I have to get out from the car. Let my friend get out and use get out from the car. And you see what we talking about around here about Joseph Walker. But don't get me wrong, I'm not campaigning for him. I just want to tell the world about Joseph Walker's contribution in Mama Labiro. And don't get me wrong, I'm not campaigning for him. I'm not members of the Unity Party. But sometimes it is good to inform the public and about activities in our country. And what is? Let me just walk there. You see what I'm talking about. I'm walking there now. You see the yeah. And this is the sample. Yeah, California. Welcome to Farmer Waka Farm. Bama District, Bakuru County, Western Liberia. Motto, your present is the best fertilizer. That's what they say, yeah. Come here, the camera. They say, yeah, the motto, your present is the best fertilizer. And we say thanks to him, this country, Malabiro. If
You
we
know what?
invest in
Hold on here, my
agriculture,
man. They did not
Liberia will be
sample.
there.
We see farm here. I ain't here for that kind
Liberia
of
will,
funny
Hey,
thing.
but
No,
Volcano,
no, no,
man.
Moses, Moses, don't do that.
okay.
Moses, don't do
No,
that.
man, Volcano, don't do
No,
that,
no, Moses,
man.
no,
No,
Moses,
man.
Moses. I can do sample or I see
Eh,
farm.
so you
No,
The
did.
man,
man can,
Volcano, don't
no,
do
no,
that,
no.
man.
So
I
the
mean,
man show me farm.
everything from Guinea.
The man show me
We,
farm.
so, we,
No,
Stop it.
man, don't do that, man,
Stop it, Someone
Volcano.
Livingstone. No, 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 no. I will not take it tonight. Don't do that to me. Don't do
No,
that.
Volcano.
Someone Livingstone, show me evidence of the farm. You show me
Hey, man,
sample.
Volcano, man.
No, no,
And
no, no,
I
no.
love
No,
Mr. Swag. What do you think?
that's sample.
Well,
That's
I mean,
sample.
I think I'm in agreement. If he has a farm, show the
Yeah,
farm
show
picture.
the farm. You gotta show me
But,
sample. You show me
but
sample on the main road.
what
Then you
would
see
be
the
the
farm.
okay? What would be the basis of somebody who is not a member of the Unity Party?
Oh man, that's not an issue.
But what
Don't
wrong
show
with
me
showing the picture of
sample.
the farm?
Hey, don't show me
If you can take
sample.
the picture
Don't
of the
do that.
sample, what wrong with
You
taking
know,
the
that's
picture of the
still a
farm?
business, man, Moses. We in the campaign season. This is our country. Let's also.
Yeah, we're talking both ways.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
our
know.
country.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Watch out there. That one incorrect, oh man. Go back, go take video, bring the farm. If I have the way to go to Babalu, I will bring the farm. I would like to bring the farm myself. Don't gonna show me somebody and tell me about your presence is the fertilizer. I'm begging
Yeah.
you. Go
Yeah.
ahead, Musa, ask your question. Let's
Yeah,
go.
no, I was saying that
I got enough for what type of country is this?
I was saying that this man has a proven record.
Oh,
And I'm not
hold on. Let me
I'm
just clarify this guy. Yeah, yeah. Manipele sumo. Yes, the video ended. The man, yeah, the end of the video. The man still standing on the main road. He's showing me sample. That's it. The video ended.
okay.
Look
So
for
what I
Living
was
Stone.
saying,
Look for more. Send it.
yeah, what I was saying is that I'm not a member of the Unity Party. I'm not a part of the campaign committee, but I'm just speaking as a journalist that are based on what is in the public domain. Mr. Barker has a history of producing in the area of agriculture. It is undebatable. Everybody knows that. It's public information. So, like Mr. Swab was saying, he believes that if given the opportunity, since that Mr. Barker has an expertise and he has a history of producing in that area, he strongly believes that if given the opportunity, agriculture may take on a better trend as compared to what he sees in today's Liberia. Isn't that what you were saying, Mr. Swab?
that's correct. That's
I
correct.
But
just
let
wanted
me,
to
let me
say
let me
that.
do this. Let me do this, and let me play this for you, Moses, so you can understand. Because if I had a chance to come and choke you, even though you
I
bereaved,
know,
let me
yeah.
do this. Where are these farms on Joseph Boyka page? This is a presidential aspirant. This
Yeah,
the most
yeah.
forerunner against the incumbent. Where is his page to show the evidence of his work for 42 years? Let's talk so. We can come here and talk, just open mouth talk and just talk.
Did you check the Facebook page?
We need evidence-based
You said
evidence.
you said 42 years, you don't see the records for
What
Canada?
are the records? I
It's
want
his
to see.
page.
The
Did you see?
30-year-old,
Did you look at his
the
web
voting
page?
need to see the record.
No,
The
but
children voting need to see the record. You said I should go to jmbf.com. Okay, I
yeah.
will go there. Yeah, yep, you're talking. I will go there. I will find
So
it.
so Mr.
I
Swab,
mouth talk.
Yeah.
We'll see. I
will,
want evidence.
will you believe anyone to say that Mr. Boaka, after 40 years of leadership in the public sector, has no history to show?
No,
Will
I
you
don't think
believe
that's what
anyone who
Volcano
says
is
that?
saying. I don't think that's what Volcano is saying. Volcano
Okay.
is specific
Mhm.
on the comment made by the guy who sent the video that Mr. Burger has a
Okay.
farm, which I
Okay.
believe I have seen. I have gone to the farm in Bombing,
Okay.
but
Yeah, he should
Volcano
have
is saying,
completed his
where
work.
is
Yeah.
the photo for those
Yeah.
farms?
I agree. I agree on that. I
No,
agree.
show me. Volcano said, don't show Sambo, show photos of the farm itself.
Okay, that's true. We agree.
But
You know.
so basically, Moses, I think it was nice on the show, and I think we should all think about how well we can be able to organize ourselves as teams uh, to respond to agriculture, which
Okay.
is the best form of investment right now compared to us going home carrying old mattresses and old bicycles and things that just don't give us anything.
Yeah.
If we can just take 10% of that budget,
Okay. So we here now. It says JMB. So I went to agriculture because it has a foundation. It says Joseph Barker Foundation, right?
okay.
Yeah.
So it says that agriculture. They order one in here that the picture then we can't click. They just add it in.
Yeah, that is
Uh,
agriculture. Yeah.
okay. So we got a gallery here. Hopefully the gallery opens so that you
So,
can see.
yeah, Fasukwe can go do more
So
research. At least he
so
has enough now.
so
Yeah.
that is plenty here that will feed Labira.
Hey,
All right.
man, Volcano,
Hold
man.
on, my man. We talking serious here. You talking about joke? that is,
Volcano. You
hold on.
asked whether the man has agriculture farm. They
Stop.
have shown you farm. Then he says
Moses,
they
a
all this.
presidential candidate here. You come here. You think you just come to the country again?
No, but man, don't do that,
I'm
man.
putting there that drawing or
So
that
what is that? That one is what?
I don't even know
That
it.
not rice farm?
No, it roll up and up or what?
What
No,
that rice farm?
get it, papi there.
What man is that on a farm?
Okay, all right. That I know that.
What is that?
Know the one that are
Farm.
nursery. They call it nursery.
Yeah, that's
So
a
you do the
farm.
nursery, then before you put it in the rear ground.
Hmm.
That
So at least you convinced them, for Canada, you have seen something,
oh,
right?
you can feel like bro. They plenty down the ground.
No, it's not about feeding that, bro. Does he have a farm, right, Mr. Swa?
Yeah, that's it. That's the
That's the
question.
question. Does he
So
have
at
a
least
farm?
you have seen series of farms already.
Yeah, so
All
at
right.
least our brother Fasikwa is in good hands now. He
Okay,
has
so
seen what you are
okay,
asking for.
so okay, so Fasukwe says at least the die is
It's
cast.
gas.
But Moses, this is what the issues room is about. We can
Yeah.
always come in and just talk motor. Joseph Baga 42 years, Joseph Baga LPNC, Joseph Baga Agriculture. How many people know these things? That's what we're talking about here.
Mhm.
These are the things that's supposed to be sold by Joseph Baga and his campaign.
Yeah.
I think they are doing it.
You say you think. You see, when anytime a man say he thinks, then he's not sure.
I say I think because I'm
No,
not
no,
part
no,
of
no.
his
I don't
campaign
want you
team.
thinking. I don't want you thinking. Say I know,
Mhm.
but I don't know it to be happening. But thank you, Brother Suwa, for coming through tonight. We just wanted to put some heat on the Joseph Baga and the UP so they can know that this
So,
election are coming up.
so
You
the
can't
issue
get
road coming after
yeah,
you, eh?
yeah, you can't just take it because it's free. Our
Yeah.
elections
Okay.
is not free. You got to show tangibles.
Yeah.
You got to show track record. And for you to be president in Liberia right now, it's not dependent on the chiefs and the 70 years old and the 65 and the 50. To be president in Liberia, that the children now,
Yeah.
those are the people who will go to vote. And
Yeah.
if they don't know anything about you, only historical stories. There's something called the stories and the facts. The spider story that we heard over our generations, are they real? They're not real. They're stories. But what is real is fact. And we've shown some facts here. So people, thank you, Flomo Livingstone. We can now go to Joseph Baga Foundation. I will explore more. And we implore most of the viewers here tonight to crusade the message, right?
Hmm.
This is an opportunity to learn. Yes. But you can kind of tell us part of the story and you won't be president. And these children then are doing Jose, and convince them with part of the story. That's my point. That's all.
Thank you.
No, we got it. So it was a great show, Mr. Swa. You're doing a great job.
No, he's done. So we got to
Yeah.
go now into the segment to wrap up. So thank you, Brother Swat. You want to stay with us? You can hang around and do what type of country is this? It's an area you
Yeah.
want to be here for.
And
And we
and
usually do this to initiate our viewers. And I
Hang
mean our
around.
viewers,
our
yes.
our
So
guest. But
I look forward to
Volcano,
thinking on. I
I
gotta go to memory lane, Moses. We got time.
yeah, no, I just want a few seconds.
Okay,
Something that I heard today from the Honorable Yeke Koluba
okay, do that quick.
is very important, Volcano, and it really broke my heart. And it's good that we have Mr. Swa with us. Honorable Yeke Koluba represent District 10, and I heard him talking to a group of journalists that despite every effort, even going to court as far as the Supreme Court, the Liberian government refuses to pay him his monthly salary.
Wow.
How do you treat a certain lawmaker like this? We know that Mr. And as an individual, I have on a consistent basis condemned the way he come across. He uses profanity. He says things that are not representative of a lead of a law. I mean, of a lawmaker. However, that does not give the executive the right to deny him of his salary. How do you do that? Where's the rule of law in Liberia? The man has gone to court. He has done everything legally, yet the government refuses to pay. Let's wrap our head around this. It's a violation of his constitutional right.
Moses, I mean, I honestly, we can table this to discuss it for Friday. This is we don't have enough time. It's 8:51. Honestly, thanks for throwing light on it. We can discuss that on Friday as our trending news. Let's table it. Honestly, we don't have the
Okay.
time. I gotta do
Yeah,
memory lane.
it's just
Yeah,
sad. Yeah.
yeah. And
Yeah.
we can throw it in whatever country,
Yeah.
but we can do a full blown conversation on it on our trending news. It's not strange. What's his name? Yeke has talked about it, that the government has sidelined him as a sitting, representative. They've not been, responsible with him. It's because the branch of government he works for is compromised, is controlled by the executive branch, just like the judiciary branch. So there's no separation of power here. Uh, we're talking Africa, so we'll just spend another time
But
there.
that's no
Yeah,
justification
yeah.
for what is happening to this
It's
man.
not a matter of justification. It's just what is happening. That's what I'm saying. I'm just telling you the reality of the situation. So let's do memory link quickly by Emmanuel Sumo here. He talked about Sani, a female warrior or of valor and honor. So Sani was one of the fiercest warriors of her time in the Pele land, which is part of today's Liberia. Sani was fighting under the command of Chief Swakoko of the then Pele Kingdom. Their goal was common gender equity or equality. He says, this is my account as documented from interviews with local oral historians during my study of female chiefs and warriors of the Pele land. Your wait small. Let me explain it. You know that Sani is a female Pele name. Sani or Zani in Pele means female bush school. Female bush school. When we say bush, B-U-S-H, like the bush. Kweli in Pele means a neighborhood. Thus, Sani Kweli means Sani's neighborhood. So then, Sani Kweli is the capital city of Nimba County in Liberia. So now let's go down memory lane. Women in Liberia around the world have long since challenged the fight for gender equality. So was Sani of the Pele Kingdom. Sani was a battlefront commander for Chief Swakoko's army. But Chief Swakoko was a bit moderate and diplomatic in her fight and chose a peaceful settlement when it became necessary. Unlike Chief Swakoko, Sani did not negotiate peace. She believed in conquer and seize. Due to ideological differences between Sani and Swa, they both eventually broke bonds. Swakoko had made alliances with some male chiefs to the disagreement of Sani. The new alliances put Sani at war with Swakoko. Sani then had to fight her former boss and the new alliances, a fight that Sani could not handle but chose to flee. The more Sani fled, the more she was pursued. So she chose to flee into a faraway jungle and there she and her army settled. The jungle was surrounded by faraway villages inhabited by the Mano and Main people. Eventually, people began to refer to the new settlement of Sani as Sani's neighborhood, Ye, Saniquele. In 1964, Nima County was established, and Saniquele became the capital city of Nima County in honor of Sani. Saniquele Ma District is also named in honor of Sani. So, let us honor our founding fathers and mothers. That's the story of how Saniquele became a city. It was from the battlefront commander of Chief Suakoko from the Pele Kingdom, and it became Sani neighborhood, also meaning Sani Kweli. So Sani Kweli is the name of the capital city of Nima County. So that's just a history to tell you how Sani Kweli got its name. Actually, it's a Kwele name in Nima County, and not a Gio or Ban or what they call it, Dane Dan. Uh,
Down.
yeah. So that's the story. But let's go to what type of country is this? What type of country is this? That a man who starts his agriculture pursuit, his little business in the southern region of the country, the president's home dominance, with a 65 kVA generator, just disappear in thin air. On the day the watchman decide not to go to work, they carry the generator. No story, no head, no tail. What type of country is this, Moses?
That
That
watchman
a
is
5 kVA generator disappear.
Mr. Swat. That watchman is indeed a prime suspect. Yes, I'm not a security person, but on the day you don't go, then this one here happen. You need to help police. Yeah,
But what type of country is this? We call it the police district or police department. At the
we're
farm,
only three men. Eh?
at the farm department, they say an organ of a sub organ of a government functionary. An organ.
Man,
You know what an organ? Now that one
man
man.
and man definition is based on Liberian standard.
Hey, my man, let's not do this. So what type of country is it to make it be a department for a whole county, a whole district?
District.
Two men police, a department.
They don't even have motorbikes. Oh.
What type of country is this?
I
Yeah,
love that.
that's
And hold on. And interestingly, the population of the region has soared
Yeah.
exponentially to the point that the president is depending on that region on to win the elections. What type of country is this?
Is this?
That the whole police department in Joazon, that two men and they say that police department, no motorboy, no walkie-talkie, no gun, no battle, but because the uniform are faded blue. What type of country is this?
It's sad. It's a very sad situation.
Hey, Bonge, welcome, sweetie. Thanks for being here
I
tonight.
love
What
Volcano.
type of country is
I'm
this?
really
There's
not in
no law
the
and
mood to
order.
laugh
It's a
tonight.
banana republic.
Yeah.
Thomas Awaji, what type of country is this? Where the bus shelter visited Atlanta and didn't call me. Oh, my man, I'm so sorry. Man, I was so busy.
Yeah, my man. I told him, man, my man. I
Hey,
told him,
man.
man, I said, my man, Thomas, my man, the man wronged me. I told him, man, my man, call my man so he can bring
Hey,
my
man.
fufu.
But
Yeah.
Thomas, you says you are calling me, my man. I went on a serious, my man. We were so busy, my man. I went to bed 2 o'clock in the morning every night. By the time we woke up, we were ready to do business. So sorry, my man. Sorry.
Volcano.
Yeah, what type of country is this?
I think that
No,
question is
No, you
Yeah.
gotta say it. What type of country is this?
what type of country is this?
Uh-huh.
A police department with 2 persons or 3 persons to a district. What work do you actually expect that they do
Nothing.
when you just named all their shortcomings? There's
Yeah.
no vehicle, there's no walkie-talkie, there is no gun, there is no motorcycle.
No Batum.
What can they do?
Amen.
And
Damn it, like,
so if you left Morovia and
There's
go
a
down
Juba.
to the villages and go to the district, you will find out the effect of the drugs that's being sold
oh
and
God.
shipped in the interior part.
Hmm.
I grew up in the interior. As a matter of fact, I came to Morovia when I was 13 years old. That's when I even learned to speak English. 13 years old, I was in the first grade.
Damn it. Not easy.
No, it
so
wasn't easy.
so look at your time you were 30-year-old in first grade. I would have won a minute at 30-year-old in first grade. What type of
Or they
country is
eat, or they eat no grade at all.
that? Yeah. What type of country
So
is this?
so the lack of
30-year-old
support,
no grade.
Yeah.
I
the
like
lack
that.
of support to
Yeah.
certain government organs or agency makes them impossible to function. The
Absolutely.
police department cannot just have few men in the community. Before the coming of police and CRD into the districts, the traditional towns were even more protected than what they are now.
I tell you.
The towns had their own leadership and they were protected. So I think the idea of these police, or whatever it is, we need to really look at it carefully during this coming administration, whether George Weah wins again or whether Vice
I'm
President
about
Joe Biden wins. We need to address the issue about security
Let's go back
because
to whatever country we got a lot ready now to be read. Whatever country is this? Steam Bunge. Rather, Ahmad Framer will come to Steam. Uh, when a current senator, Sir Joseph, has a police depot named after him in District Number 3.
that. Sir Joseph Police
What type
Depot.
of country is this? Eh? Steam
Can you
Bunge.
imagine, man, taking over government responsibility?
What type of country is this, Steam Bunge? When the police would tell you to buy gas for their government issued vehicle and motorcycles? What type of country is this?
Yeah.
What type of country is this, Thomas Awaji? Where we are campaigning in the ring,
Yeah.
is seen as a sign of strength.
Yeah.
What type of country is this?
Mhm.
Thomas Emmanuel Jackson says, what type of country is this? Ever Baptist anniversary closed down the issues room and we, did, we didn't have coverage of the president campaign in Bolsonaro. Oh man, you're right. I'm sorry, man. Hey, you're sorry.
you know
But you know what?
Yeah.
Ever Baptist Church is the foundation for my salvation. I not here on my own strength. That my
uh,
church of birth to manhood, to grandfatherhood, and to old manhood when we get there. So I
but
have I
what
have
what country is this?
Mhm.
When the election commission chair, when the election commissioner pickup truck is seen putting up the poster for Mr. Weah.
Wow.
But they say that you know that construct. Let's leave it.
Oh no, but I
Oh, for
mean,
sure.
No,
is
no,
that's
no.
why it's seen. What type of country is this to even
Yeah,
see such a video?
yeah. The people say that
Yeah.
construct.
What
Same
type of
blogging.
country is this?
Whatever country is this, the cause of Liberia's problem is the legislature. It needs to be dissolved. The
Hmm.
constitution needs to be amended, if not rewritten. I'm just tired of that hot called
Oh, a
country.
country.
What type of country is
It
this?
is.
No, seriously. What type of country is this? That a man leaves the capital city, the comfort in the capital city, goes into the interior of the country to do farming, right?
Mhm.
He hires 70 or more people and pays them $5 a day in the interior. And we have an issues room host here talking about the government minimum wage through the labor laws will be $5 plus when the government itself is paying $45 for the whole month.
The
And the
government
people
are
who's working
violating
for
the
it, they
law.
say, what type of country is this?
Mhm. Even the president himself breaking the law. The man King FM, the average pay there is $100 a month. The average pay reporter at King's FM is $100 a month.
What type of country is this when a representative is going to campaign in Grand Julia County
Yeah.
on a very, very bad road and the pickup or the Jeep is stuck in the mud and he's 250 pounds and trying to ride a boy who is just 75 pounds?
Oh,
The ball drops him down into the mud because the ball couldn't carry him.
the ball could
What
not
country
have
is this?
fall. What
Yeah.
type of country is this? Wow.
Hmm.
You're 250, you're 75 pounds, you can make it.
I'm telling you, 75-pound man dumping right in the mud.
Oh, yeah, my man. The weight was too much for the man. That's a good one, Mr. Swab.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
good one.
Yeah.
What type of country is this, my
And-
man?
I
broke down
got
in
it.
the
Hold on,
river.
I got a video here.
Just for the paper
Hold on, we got it.
Yeah, for the puppet.
to get out of the car, I had to
See
buy
it?
Strange that road. This is strange that road. They want just be buying the votes. When they say your vote for the girl, they're already
Look at the man dropping down.
Just for the paper to get out of the car, I had to buy this is strange that road. This is strange that road. They want just be buying the votes. When they say your vote for the girl, they're already
Man, go broke the man back, my man.
That's why the paper to get out of the car, I had to buy this is strange that road. This is strange that road. They want just be buying the votes. When they say your vote for the girl, they're already broke down in the river.
What type of country is this? The presidential or representative, whatever, aspiring, right?
Yeah.
The man supposed to take off his clothes and come walk in the mud by himself.
Yeah.
Be shy, my man.
Let somebody
Talking
do
about-
the-
He won't rob somebody.
Yeah, that viral medicine. Oh,
Yeah.
that viral medicine.
I let the way the ball mess way. You are dropping out.
But Volcano.
Yeah.
We say
Okay.
what
Oh,
kind of country is this? When the Capitol building,
Yeah.
the home of the legislature in Liberia, don't have running water.
Yeah.
we talking
When-
about that.
That's a good
When,
one.
when they have to use men to throw water on their heads as if they are slaves to carry into the offices of the speaker and the deputy speaker and everybody else. What kind of country is this?
What type of country is it, man?
Okay,
Modern
I got
slavery,
two more.
man.
Let me read this quick. Let me read these right now. Thomas Awaji, what type of country is this where all roads construction stops because it's rainy season?
Mhm.
What type of country is this? So we can't work in one season of the year. We gotta pause. How does our country get developed? What type of country is this, Flomo Livingston, that President We Are Crying that JMB said he was going to leave the country with young people? So President We Are is a young man now, about to be 57.
What type of country is this?
What type of country is this? Thomas Awaji is back, where the people live off of $1.50 per day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Steinbunge, what type
Yeah.
of country is this? When the first lady is sitting by our president holding her nose with her bare hands and has a grin on her face. What type of country is this? Namiento Nino Brown that
Yeah.
has no road and the president invite international guests without an airport.
What type
I'm
of
a
country is
swimmer.
this?
I really love Liberia along with the people and comedies. That was interesting. I'd like to play that video one more time. Honestly.
That's why the paper to get out of the car, they had to back it. This is strange that road. This is strange that road. They want just be buying the votes. When they
See
say
how small that man is.
they're already broke down in the river.
What give up, my man?
That's why the paper to get out of the car, they had to back it. This is strange that road. This is strange that road. They want just be buying the votes. When they say your vote for the girl, they're already broke down in the river.
Yeah,
Man,
my
camping over from just that moment alone, he camping over.
man.
Yeah, I'm
my
telling you, man.
Man broke that ball back, oh.
But man, look, the car is submerged, not just in the
Yeah.
water, but the mud.
The
Yeah.
mud,
Look,
my
this
man.
boy is trying to get traction because That
But man,
means
you get that. They made they measured 250 pounds.
yeah,
And
that
measured
means
5 make
look
it,
at
make
the
it.
beginning. And I begin that hustling for his daily bread.
And also,
I put a
man.
meal in back. He said, "Gee, I can bring you. I can bring you." He said, "Come put me on your back." They call it popo me, like bro. They popo me in the mouth.
The Voltra is this shit. They think I gotta put him man down, man.
What
Other
type
than
of
that, will
country
end
is
up
this?
dying.
Where everyone over 40 is considered young.
Yeah. What type of country is this?
What type of country is this?
Mhm.
Moses, what type of country is this?
Yeah.
That honestly, we're heading to elections. The sitting president say, I don't respect the opposition because he can lie. He promised, he promised me
That you are not gonna be
he
in
was
the
not
race,
gonna
right?
run. Now he won't run. Don't mind them. Don't
Yeah.
mind them. He said I was not important, but look at what I done. I'm the best president since 1847. Don't mind them. Don't mind that I built more roads than any president since 1847. Don't mind them.
What type
I
of
pay
country
wire
is
school,
this?
wire fees since 1847. Don't mind them. New hospital. Oh man, for real?
I
Don't
will
mind them.
campaign in the rain. Don't mind that.
Don't mind them. I'm tired of rain beat me. I need your vote. Don't mind
Don't
them.
mind that.
What type of country is this?
Yeah.
What type
Man.
of country is this, Flomo Livingston? That a county that vote for President Weah can fix their roads.
I tell you.
So that Grand Judah,
Yeah.
he said Grand Judah put a weight behind Weah. And look
Man
at what
can't
we
fix that road. Man can't
so
fix the people road, my man.
yeah.
What type of country is this? Joe, we
Steve
are.
Hunger, what type of country is this when the forensic department is in the president's church? On the pulpit?
What type of country is this?
Yeah. What type of country?
Yeah, it's
What type of country?
What type of country is this? When the University of Liberia entrance examination was taken by thousands of students and all failed.
wow. Nobody pass?
Nobody. A couple of years ago, I think 1, 2, 3 years ago.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, in a free education.
Yeah, my man. Everybody running, oh.
You know,
You know, they
everybody
just give
failed.
you a beat, my man. They say go.
Hmm?
What type of country is this?
What
You know,
country
like
is this one? We now paying fees through our schools called flexibility fees.
Mhm.
Oh, so what is that? That
They
for
should call it,
the middle school and high schools?
yeah, they should call it a bribing fees. It's not flexibility fees because it doesn't have any definition but bribing.
And so what does that cover
So
Mr. Sua?
flexibility fee in the context of what it means.
Yeah.
Having spoken with several students, it's a fee paid by students, $20, $25 US
Yeah.
that they put together the classes that are going to the national election examinations,
Yeah.
WAEC, the West African examination, and those students pay that money to their school.
Yeah.
School, I believe, gave a portion or maybe all to the examiners in the hall
Oh man.
who are supervising the examinations to become flexible. Flexible meaning if you see the man passing a little paper
Yeah, you don't pay attention to the man.
sharing, idea, you don't bother. And Moses, you remember when we took national exams?
Oh no,
Normally,
it wasn't my man that no.
you turn a day, you in trouble. You gotta
Oh,
look
yeah.
at that paper on there, you get out of there. Your man step trying to get to you, he can't because the chairs are so far apart, he can't even touch you. And you got people standing right in the middle of you. In this case, the man just leave the children in the examination hall and go drink beer.
Is that the level at which it has gotten now, Volcano?
Absolutely, Moses.
Wow.
So that's why-
sad, oh.
That's what it is. So what type of country is this that uses flexibility fees payment
Yeah.
to make examiners flexible
That's legalizing
eye.
dishonesty.
in the examination hall? What type of country is this?
Volcano, that's legalizing dishonesty.
Yeah. What type of country is this? Emmanuel Jackson. It's 56 days to elections, and the voters are suffering from drug addiction and poverty.
Yeah.
My conclusion, Steinbunger says Liberians are giving God hard time.
I
Hard
like
time.
that.
Thomas Awaji says here, what type of country is this where you have free education for grown college students, but not primary education for
Students.
students in primary education?
Yeah.
What type of country is this that 65% of our students feel,
The
I don't know
Wasi.
what he mean. He meant
I
why
think Wasi.
Wasi, okay. But we
Yeah.
have free education. Flomo Livingstone. Moses,
Yeah.
well, we gotta go. Thank you, my man. It's
Yes, sir.
9:15 in the city.
Yeah.
I will call you after here, but again, our condolences from the issues room, and I'm sure all of our
Sure.
fans out there tonight
Yeah.
are in sympathy with you for the loss of your only brother. I can understand how that feels. Uh, Hopefully, you take courage and stay strong
Yeah.
in these hours. It's not going to be ordinary, but it's my hope that he's in a better place. Hopefully,
Yeah.
he lived the life to be in a better place. On behalf of the issues room again, our condolences, and on behalf of the uh, uh, our fans in the issues room, we say also our condolences. Um,
And I would just like to say that thank you to all those who have already sympathized with me, while on the show. I appreciate all of you. I know it is difficult, when something like this happens for Canada, you know what it means. I I just try to muster the courage to come, but uh, Goys in country is okay. We okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let me
Hmm.
let you go quick, and then I can just recognize some of the folks here tonight. Thomas Awaji, thank you so much, my brother, for being here. Sorry I didn't call you being in Atlanta this past weekend. So busy. I was in on Friday and I was out on Sunday. That tells you how tight my schedule was. But I'm so sorry that I didn't get in touch with you. Would like to also say thank you to Yvonne Ayo for showing up here, Flomo Livingstone, as usual. I didn't intend to go difficult with Mr. Boyka, but we needed to show some evidence here tonight because our campaign in our country and the campaign rather in our country is no more just talk. We need to show evidence. We have a new dispensation, and the voting population is small, but it's also young and not aware of the history of many of the old people who are in these elections. So we need to show evidence to them. Uh, Stimbonge, hopefully, and you have resolved the issue. You say you couldn't comment in the issues room. Again, good to see you here, ma'am, for showing up. We appreciate your viewership. Emmanuel Jackson, we also appreciate your viewership. Amar Freeman, as usual, it's always good to see you, my brother. You've shown your dedication to the issues room. We appreciate your time. We say thank you for always coming through. Namiento Nino Brown, it was good seeing you, James Fasukwe. Thank you also for coming here tonight. Please come back again. Edith V. McIntosh, good to see you. Here in the issues room, Forge Monyu, of course, Raymond Clark, Menepele K. Sumo. It was good to seeing you here tonight. Momo Nelson, thank you for joining us here. We'd like to encourage you to continue to share the link, invite others to like our page, follow us, just join the conversation. We look forward to engaging because that's the only way we can be balanced when we hear from you and your perspective. We don't know it all. And so we want to hear from you. Dr. Manis Sumo, thank you. And thank you for the memory lane piece here we did tonight. Thank you to every one of you. Tony and Brooks, thank you for coming through. We just say thank you to everyone who showed up here tonight. We can't always say everybody's name, but for the most part, we'd like to do that because in a way we can show gratitude for your time. Your time is important. When you take away at least 2 hours to hang out here with us, it's important that we recognize you. Phoenix Consultants, you were here for the first time. Come again. Thank you. Adiaha Umo, all the way in Australia. Of course, she's always here. We say thank you. Dorothy Savis, we say thank you. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night. We'll be back here on Friday. But God's willing, we'll be featuring Dr. Joe Baba. He will be here to talk about the Decanty Artists Theater and also throw some light on the importance of voter and civic education in Liberia as we approach our national elections. So hopefully we'll have Dr. Joe Baba. And you all know Dr. Joe Baba. He is the premier, and I use the word premier, and most important uh, theater icons of our country, one who has done so many plays, whether be it for peace building, whether be it for culture improvement, whatever it is, he'll be our guest on Friday here in the Issues Room. So tune in then for that great conversation. I'm Volcano Shelton on behalf of Moses Sandy and Alphonso Yenu, and our guest tonight, Mr. David Esua. We say thanks for joining us. Good night.